At the end of this video, we'll take a look at Mad Ramp's innovative pivoting ramp system, the safer, easier way to transport your ATVs and snowmobiles. Stick around. Before we begin, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at the historic Lancaster Motel in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Lancaster Motel has been serving snowmobilers since the 60s, and they are the perfect eastern trail riding destination for snowmobilers young and old. The Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 in Lancaster, New Hampshire, with plenty of parking for vehicles, sleds, and trailers. Plus, the Lancaster Motel is within walking distance of Crane's Snowmobile Museum, plus restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and more. Click the link in the description to learn more about the Lancaster Motel. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here tonight. I've got a great lineup of entertainment, vintage snowmobile related entertainment for you tonight. But before we start with that, I just want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see this face and hear this voice, please leave a message for me. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're from. Just say hi from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or wherever it is you're viewing from. Just say a quick hello, just so that I can know that this is working properly. Now, while we're waiting for that little test to come through, I'm going to take care of a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, we're simulcasting this podcast in a few different places. Most of you, I presume, are watching this on the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers Facebook page, but it's also simulcasting on the Wheels, Keels, and Snowmobiles Facebook group. There's a link to this group in the description. If you enjoy viewing and posting about anything with the motor, this would be cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, snowmobiles, motorcycles. If you enjoy viewing and posting that kind of content, this is the place for you. When the podcast is over, go on over there, click the link, check it out, view and post all you like, anything with the motor. We're also simulcasting on the Wheels, Keels, and Snowmobiles YouTube channel. This is also a YouTube channel that I do. If you like videos about anything with the motor, this would be cars, trucks, ATVs, snowmobiles, motorcycles, anything with the motor. If you like viewing videos about that sort of thing, this is the place for you. Click on the link after this podcast. Click on the link in the description. It'll take you right over to that YouTube channel, and you can browse the channel, check out the videos. Lastly, before we get started, we are looking for an advertiser, and I'm offering a cash reward of either $50 or $100 if you can introduce me to someone who ends up signing up to be an advertiser on this podcast. The $50 or $100 will depend on the size of the package the client signs up for. But there is, like I said, there is a reward there for you. And if you are interested in becoming an advertiser on the program, you can take the reward, the $50 or $100 reward, as a discount toward your package. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the menu of what we have on tap here tonight. First up, we're going to look at Charley and Jackie Huff's 1971 Bolens Sprinter. Let me get that queued up here. This is from the Washington Snow Flyers Vintage Snowmobile Rally earlier this year. The first weekend in January is when they have that every year. And I'm waiting to find out the final word on whether or not they're planning to have it this coming January. It's just a few weeks away. So have a good look at this. It's a really good show, one of the better shows in New England. I'm hoping they're having it this year with COVID-19 and everything. You really don't know what to expect. I'm hoping they move on with the show. But, before we do, I see we've got some comments coming in. I'm looking over. I've got multiple screens here, but let me get it on this screen. No, sorry, just getting used to the interface here. Yes, wow, we've got some nice comments here. Tim Rosenthal, how you doing, Tim? Alan Michaud, Bud Provin, Bombard, Floyd, and Lisa. You guys are regular viewers. I appreciate your coming on here every week. Robert Botticello, Mike Guffey, Mike Bowers, Johnny D. Jensen, Perry Kamintz, Brian Robillard. How you doing, Brian? I spoke with Brian just last night. We've got some cool stuff from Brian both tonight and hopefully next week. We might even bring him on here live, and I'll fill you in on more of that a little bit later in the program. Doug Renstra, he's a regular on here too, I believe, and Vito Botticello from Manchester, Connecticut. Outstanding. Thank you so much, everyone, for making these comments. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the engagement. And without further ado, let's go now to the 2020 Washington Snow Flyers Vintage Snowmobile Rally and look at this 1971 Bolens Sprint snowmobile owned by, I apologize, I'm having a senior moment. I'm drawing a blank. Their name will be in the video, though. Sorry about that. Let's take a look here.
My name's Charley Huff. My wife, our 71 Bolens, 293 Sprint. We bought it the way it is.
Nice.
It runs good.
Very nice. The one that always starts.
Really? Original condition?
Huh? As far as we know, somebody gave it a paint job.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I'll put a seat cover on it.
Yeah? Nice. We'll get some shots of it here. I've never seen one of these in person. These are pretty rare, aren't they?
That's the only one that I've seen.
Wow, I believe it.
What Bolens made the Husky.
Oh, the handlebar there? Yeah.
You bring any overage? No.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. It's the old one here. I didn't know
Oh, wow. That's pretty rare.
Cover it every time.
Yeah, you don't want to get moisture in there. So there you have it. Thank you very much to Charley and Jackie for that cool footage. It was really nice to meet them. And also, I'd never seen a sled like that. I'd never seen the Sprint, the Bolens Sprint before. I believe that to be a very rare sled. Now, if anyone knows otherwise, or if anyone knows anything about that sled, one way or another, I'd love it if you could leave some comments in the description section. But that being said, let us move to the next item on our menu. This will be the show and tell portion of the show. Let's look at some images that have been submitted by viewers. First up, we've got a couple of early 70s Arctic Cats from Brad Curtis. Some very nice sleds. There's an EXT there in the front, and I am thinking that might be a Puma in the back. But I've got my face up in the screen, and I really can't tell for sure. Who's the cat cat expert here in the house. If you know what that rear sled is, if you can confirm that it's a Puma or confirm otherwise, I'd love to hear from you. Let's check in the comment section real quick and see what anyone is saying. Brad Curtis, yes, I'm glad you're watching this, Brad. Brad, you're the man that shared this. What is that rear sled? I wonder if you could leave a quick comment, Brad, on what that rear sled is, just to confirm for us what that is. I'd love to know what that is. I'm thinking it's a Puma or maybe a Lynx, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, some real nice sleds and the EXT. Oh, it's a 70. They're both EXTs then. So the rear sled is an EXT special. Wow, and the front sled is an EXT as well. I'm thinking maybe 73, 74. I'm not positive. But yeah, thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate that. And Carrie Kemmons as well. Perry Kemmons also commented, echoing that same sentiment, as did Robert Botticello. We've got some cat experts in the house. This is really nice. All right, let's go on to the next item in show and tell. This is from Kevin Blessy, a Raider. Real nice example of that as well. I like flying the American flag there. That is really nice. And then we've got a vintage moto ski from Paul Granger. Thank you for that, Paul. I really appreciate it. And then last but not least, I mentioned that I was speaking with Brian Robillard last night. We had a really nice visit, and he emailed me some images of this 1986 Ski-Doo Citation, and he's got some great stories to go with this. We're going to try to get him on here next week to go in depth on some of those stories. But this 86 Citation belonged to his grandfather, which you see there on the upper left. And his grandfather has a lot of stories and a lot of fond memories of snowmobiling back in the day. And he passed away just I think in the last year or so, just recently. And his wish was for Brian to take this Citation to a vintage snowmobile show, which he did in Lancaster this past February at the Cranes Snowmobile Show. And he took a trophy. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you see Brian there holding the trophy. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, you see the trophy on the seat of the Citation. And then if you look in the lower right-hand corner, if I remember correctly, I think Brian said that is Brian's mom riding the Citation. So I thank you very much, Brian, for sharing that photo. Really means a lot, and I look forward to getting you on here real soon to go into some more detail on that. So let's look at. I'm trying to switch gears here, and let's just go into the next video because I'm stuck here on the interface, but I'm still getting used to all of this. But let's look at the next video. We've got a video here from a couple of years ago at the Ice Drags in Newport, Vermont, real close to where I live. And we're going to meet Steve and Alex Eckles. We're going to look at their Ice Drag snowmobiles. Let's have a look.
My name's Steve Eckle from Bolens, Vermont. We're having a good day today racing. I got my vintage 650 Indy here. Some work tour, and we're gonna have a good day.
Nice.
Looking for some more good days.
Totally. Now, what can you tell me about this? This is a mod sled, right?
It's a mod, yep. We got a little Fortin, polishing, deck the heads, the triple pipes. We bored the carburetors from 38s to 39.5s. 250 picks in it.
Wow.
And shaved the track and lightened it up.
Nice.
So we're ready to see what we can do today.
Nice. What are you expecting for a time on that?
We're not too sure yet. It'd be nice to I'd like to hit 100 actually.
Nice.
160 feet. But we don't.
Sure,
it's all about fun.
Sure. But yeah, I see those spikes on there. That's 250 spikes on there, huh?
250 spikes.
That's amazing. That ought to hook up.
You should hook up pretty good, yeah.
Now, the holes drilled in there, that's weight savings? Is that what's going on with that?
Kind of did that. I don't know if it's going to help much, but yeah, just to drill them out, to lighten it up a little bit.
Nice.
Get a little different style, you know.
Nice.
Yep,
Is this your son?
Yeah, it's my
You
grandson.
want to have him, grandson? You want to come in the shot and introduce him?
This is Alex, my grandson.
How's it going, Alex?
And he's
Good,
gonna
you?
be
Good.
running an XLT here.
Oh, really?
Yep, we'll be running that. It's got triple pipes on it from Start Line Products, and it's gonna be his first time running this one, and we're gonna see how we do.
Nice.
Yep.
This one, I was 120 in that
Yeah,
first
tell
place.
him, you're running one.
Yeah, tell me the story.
120 Yamaha,
and took first.
Took first.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That was like, what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago, at least. 2 years.
Outstanding. And how old are you now?
I'm 9.
9. Good. So you were 6 years old at the time?
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 6, right?
Maybe around there.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good. Do you want to get on the sled? We'll get a picture of you on it. I'll come around this side and. Here we go. Give me a wave. Nice. Sweet deal, man.
Put them on ramps too, maybe.
Yeah, do you want to get on here? Oh. You all right? Yeah, I might have got that.
That was on purpose.
Yeah.
That's for the camera.
Yeah. Cool. Outstanding. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so there you have it. That was Steve and Alex Eckle's Ice Drag Racing Snowmobiles, and it was really nice to meet them. Nice to see young people in this sport as well. That's really cool. So next up, as you can see, we're going on to item number 4 here on the menu. I'll put that up on the screen. Item number 4, Vintage Snowmobiles For Sale. Now, I'm in a bit of a bind, and I'm hoping you guys can help me out. I need to have some of you guys email me with snowmobiles for sale. There's a link in the description where you can fill out your information and share images of the snowmobiles for sale. Until the end of the year, I'm going to share that snowmobile on here for free. Once we get into January, I'm going to start having to charge a little bit just because this project is very time consuming and I need to offset my costs. But the fee for doing so will be very modest. But while I'm working the bugs out of this, and I'm sorry, my monitor is showing me things on a delay. Working the bugs out of this and building a following, I'm going to do it absolutely free. But while we're waiting for people to share snowmobiles for sale with me, I do have a couple of things in this category. I got an email from Jeremy Sweeney. Now, he's got a question, and I told him I would pose this question to the audience to see if anyone has an answer. The question he has is to the Raider fans out there, will an early Raider undercarriage fit into a 1974 Raider? Now, I asked Jeremy to monitor the comment section here, so if you know anything about that, one way or another, if you could leave a comment as to whether or not you believe that would fit in there, I would appreciate it, and so would Jeremy, and he's going to be monitoring the comments. If you see his name come up in the comments, maybe even respond to him directly. Now, I've got another similar kind of comment. I've got one from Daniel King. Now, Daniel King is looking for a 1974 Boa Ski Mark II 440. If you know of anything like that that's available for sale, leave a comment in the comment section where Daniel can see it, and he'll either reach out to you directly or the two of you can figure out some way to be in touch on that. And I thank you in advance for that. So let's look at the next item here on the menu. We're going to see Bob Fortin, the late Bob Fortin, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. This happened in the 2019 induction ceremony, and let's have a look here. I've got this in 2 parts because this interface I'm using will only let me upload a 5-minute video. So this took a little longer than 5 minutes, so I've got 2 different sections. So there'll be a little break in the middle of the video as I switch, which is just me clicking the mouse. But let's take a look as Bob Fortin, the late Bob Fortin, is inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame.
Mr. Bob Fortin. Robert Fortin, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2019. Bob's first race was at the 1964 International Grand Prix. He won Class C at the 1966 Grand Prix and was the second person to have his name on the then new and now famous Kilkenny Cup. Fortin won the prestigious 1966 Maine State Championship by taking 3 firsts and 2 seconds. In front of a standing room only hometown crowd, Bob set a world jump record of 67 feet 6 inches at the 1967 Grand Prix. And like I say, you open that door out there, you can see how far that is on that little sled. Bob won the 1969 New Hampshire State Championship in Wolfboro. He became team captain of the famed Big T racing team sponsored by Skidoo Distributed Timberland Machines Incorporated. In 1970, Bob won the Bolens Cup, the Kilkenny Cup, Vermont's Texas Grand Prix. He won in Mod 1 at Lewiston, Mod 2 at Bangor, and was nearly unbeatable in Mod 1 and Mod 2 classes during both 1970 and 71 seasons. Well on his way to another very successful year of racing, it took a mid-season accident while testing one of his new sleds to sideline Fortin for the remainder of the 1972 season. And I'm going to tell you something. That was the year they had those little baby triples. Bob Fortin would have been number one had he been able to race that year, I guarantee it. Wearing gold bib numbers 2 and 3 during his 10 years of racing, Bob Fortin was a stickler for perfection and is widely regarded as the greatest New England skidoo racer of his generation. Mr. Bob Fortin. Now there's another gentleman I want to introduce that's going to say a few words about Bob. And last year's inductee. And his name, his plaque hadn't been put on the wall more than 5 minutes when I felt his arm come around my shoulder. And he whispered, he says, Bob Fortin needs to be up on that wall. And I explained to him how, we're trying to do the ones that are still with us first, and eventually we'll do the ones that have passed away. And he shakes his head and he says, Bob needs to be up there more sooner than later. I know why this guy is so big. He has to carry around a big heart. Mr. Calvin, remember?
Okay, everybody hear me? I'll tell you, the first time I ever raced a real race on a snowmobile was at Lancaster. And we pulled in there with just one, I must have been 64, because there was part of the distance was still a 4-cycle engine, Kohler engines, and wooden skis. But anyway, it didn't take me, I was racing in Beechwood at the time, racing cars. Can everybody hear me? No. Can't hear me? Okay, at the time I was racing cars at Beechwood Speedway, and I haven't started racing motorcycles yet, but I was racing cars. And so I had a little, I'm pretty confident when I come up there, flatland, on that little 6 horsepower with the skidoo. And we no more pulled in and unloaded it, and I looked around and I could see who was going to be the competition. Because there was one guy riding around on his knees, and he had the confidence, and he got it all covered. The guy was really sharp and on the stick and on the ball. And he was heavyweight. I think he was 19 years old. Yeah. And he was over here, and he was over there, and I was over there, and I said, man, and here I am from the flatland. So anyway, I think we had to weigh 200 pounds. The rider had to weigh 200 pounds. Like I weighed 190 with a snowmobile suit and all that.
They had to wait.
So they had to weigh my glove box, sandbags, in the glove box. Everybody's running around making a lot of noise, and I said, man, they're making a lot of noise, it must be going faster. So I took the muffler off my machine, and I haven't heard anything since. It slowed me down about 3 miles an hour. And anyway, you take the noise coming out of that cab, coming back on you, and I think the cross country was like 6 miles. By the time I got back for 3 days, so I got back to the shop down in Buxton, and we were skidoo dealer. And I took off, I got the machine out next morning, and I took off across the field, and I'm a big racer now, snowmobile race, and I hit it down, I was there like that, and the glove box come open, and it fell my face. Good Bobby won it all. The guy, I think Dave Pickard, hung the name on him, El Capitan. El Capitan. Yeah. Is that right, Bobby? Yep. Dave Pickard. Yep. Right, Bruce? And we got whatever we wanted, we had to get it from Bruce, from Bobby. And Bobby was very generous with the information, very generous, and he passed it down to us guys. And you always talked about my machines, how they were good and clean and everything, because I had to emulate Bob. The machines were spotless, 10 times the machines were spotless. Well, one year, I got promised the world from Nero Distributors to ride out a cab. They were going to give me machines, and they moved me in with big time. So I jumped ship, went out a cab. And, before I got done, I was on my hands and knees in front of Bill saw him at the desk. I was Bill until I got rid of my hands and hands. Anyway, I think the next race, Bobby got hurt. I'm back to back. And his 640 was ready to go, nobody to ride it. So they told me to ride it. And in Bangor. You remember the race up there? And Tom Peters remembers the race because he's the guy that kept looking down and saying, where did that stranger go? Go away. And I rode the bags all the way around, and I won the race anyway, Bobby's machine. And that was, I mean, he was the leader. He set the pace with everybody. He set the
high mark.
The high mark, and we all wanted to follow it.
Yeah.
And that's why my machines are always spotless. That's why we always rode with decent flows. And we try to look better with Timberland, which is hard to do. They got this one, I was sharp. But I will say one thing, Timberland did give me, 2 years in a row, give me 4 machines to race, my own riders. And I know they did that with Bobby's blessing. Because if Bobby hadn't said okay, I would have never got it. So anyway, the guy who deserves to be up there, and he should have been in the first year.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
By the way, David Fortin has got some Kilkenny cups of his own.
Thanks to my pleasure.
The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree.
Well, there you have it. The late, great Bob Fortin has been inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. That happened last year in 2019. Now, this Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame is an up-and-coming thing. I've been going to them almost since the beginning, and each year it gets bigger and bigger, larger crowd, just everything it just grows. It's an up-and-coming thing. So if you're thinking about attending the next one, here's the information you're going to need. This is going to be Saturday, September the 11th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The location is going to be at Crane's Snowmobile Museum in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Now, if you're planning to come any distance for this ceremony, no other place to stay but the Lancaster Motel. It's walking distance from the ceremony, and the after party for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame happens at the Lancaster Motel. So you can attend the ceremony, walk back to the motel for the after party, and once you're finished with the after party, just wander over to your room and call it a night. It's a great experience. So we're going to move on here to the next portion of the program. Let's take a look here. Now we're on number 6, upcoming vintage snowmobile events, and I've got a few things to show you here. Let me just get them lined up. Okay. So the Adrenaline Rush Reunion Snowmobile Races, these are going to be happening January 23rd at 10 a.m. or from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Here's some more detail about this. It's going to be in Rangeley, Maine. And they've got a half-mile course with a lot of parking at the Stephen Bean Municipal Airport. Plenty of room to accommodate everyone. And yeah, if you're curious about that, do check that out. Now we've got another event. These are the Vintage Snowmobile races in Lisbon, New Hampshire. I was just speaking with the organizers of this earlier today, actually, and they confirmed with me that it's still on. With COVID today, you never know exactly what's going on. And if you're planning to attend any kind of vintage snowmobile event over the next few months, whether it's a show or racing, be sure and check on their Facebook page or their website before you head on over there, especially if you're driving any kind of distance, because with this COVID-19 business, you never really know, and it's good to confirm before you drive all that way. And I applaud everyone who's trying to continue with their shows and their races, pardon me, during all of this. But yeah, this is hosted by the Lisbon Stump Jumper Vintage Snowmobile, the Snowmobile Club, I should say, Snowmobile Races. Yeah, and that's a great event. I've been to that a couple times. It's a really good time. Next, we have the Lowbuck Vintage Riders 17th Annual Show and Swap in Dunbar, Wisconsin, December 5th. That's this weekend, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you're in Wisconsin this coming weekend looking for something to do, this is the place to go right here. Here's some more details about it. On the Airport Road, Dunbar, Wisconsin. New location. Registration, if you're bringing a sled to show, starts at 7 a.m. Awards are at 2:30 p.m. and very reasonable prices to enter your sleds in there. They're going to have food and beverages, and it's just a great time. Now, someone was asking me earlier about the Ontario Snowmobile Oval Racing, what the dates were on that. And here's what I have. I found this on their website. So for the people who are asking about this, this is what I have so far. I'll just leave that up on the screen here so everyone can get a look at that in case they're thinking about going. And also, if you've got an event, whether it's a race or a show, click the link in the description and I will put your event on here for free. Now, something to think about also if you're doing an event is I would love to do something live with you. If you've got someone there with a smartphone that has the Chrome browser, if you're willing to walk around with your cell phone and interview people, whether it's a vintage snowmobile show or a race, maybe walk around the paddock and interview people, I would love to try and air that live for you on this Vintage Snowmobile Lovers Facebook page. Also, if you're doing a race and you want to maybe try to set up a cell phone right at the start finish line so we can get people going by there. It's great for us here who aren't able to attend the event, but also for the people who are at the event. You can announce it over the PA system, let people know that there's a camera on the start finish line, and if they want to whip out their cell phones, they can watch the people going by the finish line on their cell phones. So it's a great option. If you're planning any kind of a vintage show or vintage event, please reach out to me and we can try to coordinate something like that. I'd love to put this on here live. I'm sure you folks would all like to view it, especially if it's in a different part of the country where you can't attend it in person. It's great to be able to watch these things live. One last event I wanted to tell you about. This is one I talked about a few weeks ago, but my good friend Doug Lubon has been in touch with me, and he gave me this this updated graphic for this show that's coming up February 27th. And these guys put on a great show. This is put on by the Ogama Hills Snowmobile Club in West Branch, Michigan. And these guys put on a really good show. So if you're in that area thinking about attending a good vintage snowmobile show, this is the one to attend. And I thank you for that, Doug. So what have we got next here on the agenda for the evening? We have got a look at Jason Gibbs, 1978 Polaris RXL. Jason Gibbs is a great guy. I see him at a lot of the Northern New England shows. He's always had some great sleds, mostly Polarises, but he's also got motor skis and some other brands. But yeah, he always brings some really nice stuff. Let's take a look at Jason Gibbs RXL.
My name is Jason Gibbs. I'm from Livermore, Maine. I have a 78 RXL. It's a 440 triple. I think it was probably a 340 at one time, so I went ahead and put the 440 triple in it. I got it out of Canada and I restored it. It all runs and drives, so I have fun with it. So, thanks.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Jason Gibbs. I appreciate that. Before we get on to the next video, and I do have a couple of more videos, I see that we've got a lot of comments coming in. So let's scroll over there, take a look. We've got Brian Peterson from Ludington, Michigan, Ben Tucker from Tunbridge, Vermont, fellow Vermonter. Nice to see you. Bud Provin saying that he worked in a Ski-Doo dealership in '86, and they did recall after recall on those citations, which is a bummer to hear, but that does happen, I'm afraid, sometimes. Kevin Lacey, I'm not sure how you're pronouncing that, Kevin. Hope I'm not mispronouncing that, but Kevin is checking in from Fairhaven, Minnesota. Then we've got Stephen Weiberg from, I need to get up close to the screen here, Matomedi, Minnesota. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Now we've got Michael Scabelli. Mike says, yes, he had a new one, pull start snapped the first year. Something broke underneath having to do with the track, and he can't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. And Brad is paying us a nice compliment. Brad Curtis. Brad had the image of those Arctic cats earlier in the show and tell section of the show. And he's thanking us, saying it's an awesome show. Hoping that I keep it up. And thanks for showing some of his sleds. You're very welcome, Brad. Thank you for sharing that. And last, we've got Brody Mesner from Henderson, Minnesota, checking in and saying hello. I thank you for that, Brody. So let's get on to our next section of the program. We're on number 8 here, as you see on your screen. We're going to be looking at Pat Goudreault's vintage Ski-Doo collection, and you're going to see he's got some really nice pieces in that collection.
My name's Pat Goudreault. This is my 76 Skidoo RV. We rebuilt this. We got it in pieces. And, for 3 years, we get it all together, and it's like brand new now.
Nice.
Yep. This is my brother's 75 245 racer, untouched.
Wow, that's original shape, huh?
Still got the racing scars on it.
Yeah. I remember those from back in the day.
Yep. That was when Skidoo came back after canceling in '74. So
Okay, yeah.
Back with these sleds.
Nice.
And that's a 71 292 Cancun. My dad was a dealer, and they raced every weekend with this. They got a lot of first places over racing with this 292. Wow. And we stored that one too.
Very cool. Beautiful, thank you. Yeah, Pat's got some really nice sleds there. It was really nice to meet him too. This was just earlier this year, February, at the Cranes Vintage Snowmobile Show in Lancaster, New Hampshire. That, by the way, is an excellent show. I'm trying to connect with Paul Crane. I'm hoping to catch up with him in the next few days to get confirmation as to whether or not he thinks he's going to do that show this year. If it weren't for COVID-19, there would be no question. But with all this COVID business, it's just difficult to know what's happening or not happening. And even if someone thinks they're having it at this point, things may change and they may not have it. So I'll do my best to keep people updated on whether or not shows are happening with COVID-19. And I ask you to please contact me if you have updates or information one way or another about vintage snowmobile shows, races, any kind of event like that, because I'm sure people are wanting to know. But if you're thinking about attending this vintage snowmobile show at Cranes Museum the first Saturday in February, the place to stay for that in Lancaster, New Hampshire, is the historic Lancaster Motel. It's just walking distance from Cranes Snowmobile Museum. It's also a great place to go if you're thinking of a place in the east to do some trail riding. Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 and walking distance from Cranes Snowmobile Museum. Now I've got one last video to show you. Let's get the menu back up here. We are on number 9. We're going to look at David Theriault's vintage Harley Davidson. Now, this is one of the first videos that I did a few years ago. He had sent me some images and footage, and I just kind of edited it all together into kind of a crude piece. But here it is. It's a really nice sled. Let's take a look at David Theriault's vintage Harley Davidson snowmobile. This is David Theriault's 1973 AMF Harley Davidson Y440. This sled is complete with 1,200 miles, electric start, chrome skis, a speedometer, a new seat cover. Dave says the sled runs great. It starts with the turn of a key. These sleds have a wet primary clutch, adjustable handlebars, high and low beam headlights, steering stabilizer shock, 18-inch wide track, and a CDI ignition with surface gap spark plugs. He said he had some trouble with the CDI boxes, but he's able to resolve that. Let's take a look at some video that Dave sent us.
This is my 1973 Harley Davidson Y440. Chrome skis, pretty good shape, not mint. New seat cover, Seems to run really good this year. This was a good sled. The best part about this sled is that
And we're back. That was number 9, David Theriault's Harley Davidson Vintage Snowmobile. We're going to wrap things up here in just a couple of minutes. Before we do, let's go back into the comments. I think we've got a few more here. Yes, Jeff Nix from Liberty, Iowa. How you doing, Jeff? Thanks for checking in. Jim Hunter from St. Petersburg, Florida. And then we have Johnny Jensen. Thank you for the compliment, Johnny. Johnny says it's a great show, and thank you very much. And you are welcome very much. We appreciate your being on here. And then last but not least, we have John Spranger Jr. from Flame, Wisconsin. Thank you, John, for coming on tonight. So let's wind down the program. Before we finish it up, I've got a quick video for you to look at. This is the Mad Ramps product. If you decide you're curious about these Mad Ramps, there's a link in the description. If you click that link and order through me, which would be through that link, I will send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs as a way of saying thank you for ordering that through me. Without further ado, let's take a look at these Mad Ramps, and I thank you for being on the podcast tonight. Have a wonderful weekend.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.